Hello and welcome to episode number 3 of the Steel Pentagon, the 5 to 6 to 7 to however long it takes snapshot to go through what you may have missed if you were unable to attend the streams that are going on during the week. Hopefully in this short summary you will see a youth intake preview, you will see transfers both in and out, you will see some goals, and you will see a quite brilliant, if I do say so myself, cup shock. The youth intake preview offers something that I've not seen on Football Manager 2021 so far, a positive looking preview. So I'm doing a blog save as well based up in the Highlands, which you may have seen. If not, I will endeavour to put the link above about now, where I'm managing a team called Scurry in the Scottish lower leagues, and majority of my youth intakes are one green line saying this could potentially be a golden generation, and then the rest of the yellow lines just completely slate it and describe it as the worst group of players that anyone has ever seen in their lives. And when you're doing a youth only save, which I am in Scotland, it can be very difficult to build a squad. But anyway, I'm digressing. I'm talking about Millwall here, and it does actually look to be half decent. A decent centre midfielder prospect, plus a forward, which I'm assuming the forward that could be considered a fine prospect is the one from Southwark who has caught the eye, which potentially means a good midfielder and a good striker coming through. Now, I don't quite yet know how I'm going to do the Steel Pentagon 5 attributes for these youth intake players, because as they're going to be 16 years old, it is potentially unlikely that they will hit the minimum benchmark, which is 50. However, I will have a look when they come through and make a decision then. So full disclaimer, I could potentially be changing my rules a little bit based on how they come through, but time will tell on that one. The first player to leave the club is John Daddy Budvardson. He is a decent player in so many ways, but he just cannot score goals, unfortunately. He played 6 games for me this season and didn't find the net in any of them. He has moved on to New England Revolution for £725,000. A decent amount of money, I think, considering he was not a regular. He did have a year left in his contract after the end of the season, so there was a little bit of compensation to sort of recoup there. But I think that's quite a good bit of business for us. We've also let our captain go, Alex Pearce. He came to me sort of mid-December to say, I'm unhappy with the amount of football I'm getting. I said, quiet, Alex, you're getting enough. He said, no, I'm not. I said, yes, you are. And that's how the conversation went for a couple of minutes. And then I decided that actually you can leave as well. So Colorado Rapids came in with a bid of about £250,000 for him. He was out of contract at the end of the season, so we have done, I think that is a very good bit of business for us. And I have also recruited someone to replace him who I think is just a little bit better. But then again, I would say that, wouldn't I? I wouldn't be standing? I wouldn't be sat here saying, this guy that I've got rid of, I brought in an inferior player. Of course, I'm going to be saying that the new guy coming in is so much better. Just how much better is the outstanding question as yet to be answered. So Jimmy Dunn has joined us for £400,000. He has come in from Burnley. He's a former Manchester United youngster, and he is very much in the old school type mould for a defender. He can head, he can mark, he can tackle. The rest of the technicals aren't that great, but really good mental attributes as well, with a Steel Pentagon score of 70. Another centre-back also joined us in January. This one is a very familiar name to myself because I played cricket with a couple of members of his family. Leicester boy Josh Knight has joined us for a relatively cheap fee of £100,000. He is a central defender, defensive midfielder, and potentially a centre midfielder as well. He has a Steel Pentagon score of 68 and comes in as my probably 4th choice centre-back at the moment, but he did start in the last game of the stream that we had tonight, and he did score his first goal for the club on debut as well. So, welcome Josh, glad to have you on board. We've covered the defenders, now we're going to cover the strikers with 2 further additions just before the window closed at the end of January. Kenneth Sahara is not a new name for us. He was on loan for the first part of the season. Went back at the start of January as he was on 20 grand a week and we just couldn't afford to keep him. But we've been able to renegotiate a 12 grand a week wage for him to the end of the season from West Brom. He is a good striker. He's been on form since he returned. 3 goals in 3 games towards the end of January is really, really good. And the final one is Ricky J. Jones, who is a little bit of a free hit, I think. He's only 18 years old. He's from Peterborough, so he's very highly rated there. He comes in from them on loan to the end of the season, only paying £500 a week for him. In all honesty, he's probably not good enough for the Championship at this point in time. However, he is someone that has got that 5-star potential, so he could be a very good player in the future. So we're getting him in, we're having a look to see if there's something there, and we may make that a permanent deal in the summer. Next up, we will talk about the FA Cup drawn at home to Arsenal. And it's fair to say things went very well indeed. Okay, the scoreline in the top does give it a bit away, but let's just ignore that and focus on the story. So, Nketiah put them up 1-0 in the first minute, and I was starting to worry about a bit of a pasting, but within a couple of minutes, we had equalised. Troy Parrott forcing Runarsson to make a mistake in the goal to make it 1-1. And it got even better than that with a 2-1 lead, with Tom Bradshaw scoring his first thanks to a good solid run. And then we just got better and better. Troy Parrott breaking the offside trap to slam us home 3-1 on the 30-minute mark. Former Tottenham man enjoyed that one. Before again, we got the ball, we worked it around quite nicely, slipped it in, and Tom Bradshaw there scoring to make it 4-1, his second of the game. They quickly responded though with El Neni slamming in from a very, very tight angle, but the scoring was finished late on. Tom Bradshaw heading home a perfect hat-trick. On the face of it, Bournemouth away was a very difficult game on Boxing Day, but Troy Parrott scored very early doors, and Kenneth Sahara scored a second just before the half-hour mark, which was massively indebted by the goalkeeper, as you shall see. If you're a young goalkeeper, this is how you defend a long throw, and you just completely miss the ball and you let a Premier League striker just get on the end of it and poke it into the back of the net. But as the December showed, we followed up a good result with a poor result. So we hosted Watford on the 29th, and an early goal by Christian Cavaselli was the only goal of the game, and we went down 1-0. But we are a team that knows how to bounce back. A 4-0 victory over Coventry was the bounce back. Cooper, Bennett, Williams and Wallace with the goals. A real shot in the arm that proved to be, as we went into the Arsenal game a week later and beat them 5-2, as you've seen, before back-to-back draws. Nottingham Forest and Huddersfield both away from home, both games where we were behind for large parts of the game, but we were able to get something out of the game in the end, before we faced against Aston Villa in the FA Cup, and Cameron Brannigan got himself sent off for a 2-footed lunge after 11 minutes, and after that it was one-way traffic. Aston Villa could well have had 6 or 7. It wasn't that much of a domination from them, but we had the league to focus on, and the league is going very, very well. Troy Parrott is an absolute machine, because at the end of a very long game, which is 3-3, he produces this to give us a 4-3 win against high-flying Norwich City. It then got even better with a 4-2 victory over Cardiff. We got a hat-trick in that one. Tom Bradshaw scored the other one. Before we went into February, and February is a month where we score and the opposition don't. Sheffield Wednesday 1-0, Reading 3-0, Birmingham 2-0 and Wycombe 2-0 as well. Put us, as it stands, at the top of the Championship with 15 games left. We are 1 point ahead of Brentford. We are 13 points above QPR. So things are going very well indeed. So if that has whetted your appetite for a little bit more Steel Pentagon action, I am streaming most nights, so keep an eye on my Twitter at KidworthBull. You'll see the link to that at the top right hand corner of my YouTube profile. Alright then guys, massive thanks for watching this video. There is plenty of other stuff that I've released over time which you can see examples of on the right hand side of the screen right there. There's also a subscribe button, so if you haven't already, please do subscribe. And the final plea, if you can drop a like or a comment, that would be awesome, as YouTube knows that you enjoyed and that'll help others get visibility too. Thank you very much.